Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online and on the go. This is Valley News Live 10 at 10.
Several parents are concerned over changes to the Fargo school boundaries. Good evening, everyone, and thanks for joining us tonight.
Middle and high school students in both North and South Fargo could be affected. Valley News Team's Macy Inger talked with one of the concerned parents. Macy, what did she say?
Yeah, Mike and Steph, several parents have reached out to me about the school district's plan to balance out school sizes. The mom that I spoke with told me the board isn't listening to her and the changes will create headaches for her family.
Dinner
with a dog, a few cats, and 2 boys.
Let's go sit down.
Dana Nowoski has her hands full. Her sons Jacob and Jesse go to Clara Barton and Carl Ben.
To dinner.
Both will change schools next year under the Fargo School District's plan to move boundaries.
They were actually really disturbing.
Why is that?
When you live 6-7 blocks away from the school they're already attending, and now they're going to be bused across town.
From their home, school would be about 25 blocks away, not 6.
A lot of parents are upset about this. And not just the Carl Ben area, but the Discovery as well, because this affects a lot of children on both sides.
But the school district says it looked through multiple plans, and this is what's on the table.
The impact it would have on enrollments, the impact that would have on future use of our facilities. We are attempting to be as proactive as we can.
However, school officials say it's not set in stone. Future meetings with parents could bring change.
All of that information will be compiled, will be shared with our board, and it will be part of their conversations as they talk about what are the appropriate next steps.
The plan does offer a petition process or open enrollment, but this mother of 2 isn't convinced.
I just don't think it's fair, and I don't think the school board's listening to anybody.
She believes there's other options out there and hopes this is just the start of the conversation.
Now, I'm sure there are a lot of Fargo parents wondering if their kids are impacted, and here's how you can find all that information. Just go to valleynewslive.com. There's a link to it and the proposed boundary changes there. Also, there's a series of forums that are scheduled to address any concerns. Mike?
All right, thanks, Macy. And here's a listing of those forums. All will be held between 6 p.m. and 7 p.m. at night. Now, the first 2 are next week, one Wednesday at Clara Barton Gymnasium, the other on Thursday at the Jefferson Elementary Gym. A third will be the following Wednesday, March 18th, at the Centennial Elementary Gymnasium.
We reported to you a couple days ago of a Valley City man who was robbed after trying to buy an Xbox game on a Facebook buy-sell trade group. Well, the name of the people involved in that case have been released. Andrew Adams and Jennifer Schultz of Valley City face felony robbery charges. Adams was arrested yesterday, and Schultz turned herself in to the Barnes County Correctional Center earlier today. The person who was robbed, though, Jeffrey Hoganson, will be facing misdemeanor charges of reckless endangerment and criminal mischief as he chased the robbers and rear-ended the vehicle multiple times.
A man was rescued today after climbing on his roof to escape a house fire. The first fire crews arrived on scene in Barnesville this afternoon, reporting heavy smoke coming from the home. Firefighters told Valley News Live that they were able to quickly put out the flames, which were coming from the basement. The man was not injured. The home has smoke and water damage. No word yet on what caused that fire.
A vehicle was involved in an accident on 3rd Street and 1st Avenue North in Moorhead earlier tonight, in which the driver drove away from, but then caused another much more serious accident just 5 blocks down at 8th Street and 1st Avenue. Moorhead police are not releasing names at this time, but they did tell us the driver was arrested for a DUI and 3 other passengers were arrested for obstructing an officer. The charges are pending, and no one was transported to the hospital for injuries in this crash.
North Dakota lawmakers in Bismarck are trying to stop the wage gap between genders in the state. The new bill will improve and update the 50-year-old equal pay law. The prime sponsor of the bill says it mainly updates and clarifies so people can better understand the law. If passed, this bill allows businesses to pay differently to the opposite sex if factors are involved, such as education, training, or experience. The North Dakota Women's Network say that they support this bill because wage gap does still exist.
That we have a 2-year statute of limitations, but it never really clarified when that 2 years begins when the discrimination happens. And then there's additionally, you could file in district court. Before, the law didn't really say exactly where the filing can take place.
This bill is currently in the North Dakota Senate committee and won't be voted on until next week.
Selling crack cocaine in the FM area, it's just part of the felony charges a number of Minneapolis gang members face. They're accused of operating a crime ring stretching all the way from the Twin Cities to the FM area, with Fargo-Moorhead being one of the largest metro areas between the Twin Cities and Seattle. Law enforcement say that there's a large market here for drugs, and gangs have realized they can make quite a bit of money in this area.
People that are engaged in criminal activity, working as a gang, they come forward with trafficking narcotics, they human traffic through our area. This is being proven on a regular basis with the cases that are made.
Moorhead police, they have officers on several different drug task forces operating all around the area, and they routinely say they serve search warrants to help combat this problem.
Colon cancer, it's the #2 cause of cancer death in our country. While it typically occurs in people 50 years of age and older, it doesn't mean that it can't happen to younger folks as well.
One young Fargo mother is understanding the importance of getting a colonoscopy after surviving colon cancer. Valley News Team's Christina Craig shares her story.
You hear that word cancer and it's so scary because in my mind I automatically thought, a death sentence.
Mother Amanda Houston was diagnosed with stage 2 colon cancer last year at the age of 34.
The scariest thing to me is I have 2 children. I want to watch them go to prom. I want to watch them graduate. I need to see I have stuff to do here.
Luckily, Houston beat cancer, but it wasn't an easy journey. It all started when she went in for a colonoscopy after dealing with months of intestinal problems. When she woke up, that's when the doctors announced the bad news.
I remember crying and not really hearing much, and then it just happened so quickly. Then you're going in for scans and meeting surgeons, and all of a sudden your life is just taken up with doctor's appointments.
It's an abnormal growth in the lining of the bowel wall, and again, those are things that can be readily visualized with a sigmoidoscopy or colonoscopy.
Houston fell into the 3 to 5% of hereditary cases. It's rare, but it also means she's at high risk for other cancers too. After removing the cancer, Houston was hospitalized for a week before all of her tests came back negative.
So as I was just getting my 3-month scans and all clear, and we were celebrating my good news, we found out my mother had cancer.
And her mother's was much worse, stage 4 colon cancer. Houston says it could have been prevented or found earlier if her mother just went for a colonoscopy at the recommended age of 50.
Well, there are different stages of colon cancer. The earlier it's found, the more likely you are to survive. And if you can prevent it, that's the best of all. And
it gets a bad rap, I think, and no one wants to have that done, but I promise you it doesn't hurt. It's a painless procedure.
A simple doctor's visit that Houston is glad she had because it saved her life. In Fargo, Christina Craig, Valley News Live.
Well, if you would like to know more about the signs and symptoms and everything regarding colon cancer, this Friday, Essentia Health's Cancer Center along University Drive is taking part in National Dress Blue Day to bring awareness to this deadly disease, and they will have an informational booth there where you can learn about screenings.
After years of hard work, the people of Milner, North Dakota will soon have a brand new child care center as the city was awarded a grant through the North Dakota Department of Commerce. Now, in the fall of 2013, Milner was told that they were getting a grant of $187,500. The building process started in August of 2014, and the project was estimated to cost just under $500,000. Well, members of that community chipped in, donating money, land, material, equipment, and services. The child care center is now complete, and the Tiny Tykes preschool and daycare will open on March 16th.
In case you missed it, there was a benefit tonight in Fargo at Shotgun Sally's for McKenna Dinkle, a young woman who suffered a traumatic spinal cord injury while enjoying the snow and outdoors. Now, to help with medical costs, the night turned out to be a success as there was a silent auction, various donations from friends, family, and local businesses as well.
McKenna's high school English teacher, who is a good friend of mine, is here. A gentleman that she used to work for in high school is here. It's just seeing all these people that saw the Facebook messages or whatnot, or the billboards out here in town, and said, you know what, we need to go.
Now, if you'd still like to donate, you sure can. You can go to her GoFundMe page. Just go to valleynewslive.com and then click on this story.
Valley News Live 10 at 10 continues with no wait weather.
Well, we have some cold weather to get through, but there's a lot of smiling going on in the weather department because we're talking about some warmer weather. So
it's nice to see.
Not quite warm enough for you to wax the wheels on your lawnmower just yet, Mike. But yeah, it's coming.
I'm anxious to say spring has sprung, though. I just want you to know that.
He's anxious, or can we say it?
We'll let you know when we can go full bore with that. Let's take a look outdoors. 4 degrees below zero right now. Feels like 19 below. West winds at 8 miles per hour with temperatures below zero. Remember, it doesn't take a lot of wind to cause dangerous wind chills. Once again, dangerous wind chills overnight. If you missed today, just a lot of blustery conditions. Setting our tower cam time lapse in motion, we see these bands of flakes fly through, ice crystals hitting you in the ear and the side of the face, and just overall pretty brutal cold day with temperatures in the single digits above zero throughout, and wind chills that were just no fun to be out and about in. Here's a look at temperatures elsewhere. Already 10 below Grand Forks, 8 below Devil's Lake. Jamestown, it is 7 below zero. And the big winner for cold right now, Bemidji at 13 below, 6 below in Fergus Falls and Detroit Lakes. Wind chills in the single digits below in Lakes Country where the wind is a little less prominent, but feeling like 24 below in Badette this hour. Still the wind blowing, a little bit of ice crystal activity possible, but things have really quieted down here. Take a look down south, Texas, just outside of Dallas, heavy snow with freezing rain and sleet falling throughout central and eastern Texas. This stretches all the way through the Ohio River Valley, and we see a lot of blue. I'll tell you what, that's heading into Pennsylvania with snow and mixed precipitation for the northeast. Our overnight forecast shows temperatures continuing to plummet. Look at Roseau. Also, I want to point out that our viewers to the south and southeast of Fargo that have upwards of 4 inches of fresh snow on the ground will see temperatures between 15 below and possibly 20 below zero. Everyone rises and shines, and those wind chills are going to be brutal as you're heading out the door to work, to school. So if you can, plug the car in before you head to bed tonight. By midday, south winds will be, well, they'll be cooking out there. 15 to 25 miles per hour. It'll be a wind chilly first half of the day. But by the afternoon, look at the warmth spreading into the western and central Dakotas with 30s along Interstate 94 towards the capital city of Bismarck. And a lot of teens. Our warmest weather will be found in the west, the James River Valley, and even the Devil's Lake Basin. By the afternoon, we'll, though, have temperatures in the teens across much of northwest Minnesota, cooling off into the single digits for most of us by late on your Thursday night. Planning forecast for overnight tonight through the early hours tomorrow. The wind chill advisory remains in effect as the air temperature dips down to the teens below zero here in Fargo-Moorhead. Enough south wind to cause some pretty brutal wind chills. But once the sun comes out, it begins to go to work. After a couple of hours, we'll be well above zero and on our way into the 20-degree range for your afternoon. It won't feel so warm outside, however, because we will have some pretty bad wind chills throughout the afternoon. 18 in Langdon on your way home from work, 24 Jamestown and Devil's Lake in the 20s as well. Take a look at this. This is the moon. We talk a lot about sundogs. This is moon dogs with the upper tangential arc up here. And boy, it looks like light pillars. Thank you, Michael, for an awesome photo emailed in. That was near Grand Forks. Let's put the beautiful 7-day to go along with that beautiful photo. 36 with a flurry on Friday. Fabulous weather into the weekend with near 40-degree readings by Sunday. Can't rule out weekend flakes. But the 40s and, dare I say, some 50-degree weather possible across the region on Tuesday.
What?
Springish. Springish.
Springish.
Ish.
It's kind of hinting that it might look that way.
I like it.
Yeah. Still to come tonight, the big step by a major fast food chain to reduce the amount of antibiotics in its meat.
But first, when you should be taking a break from your workout to get better.